Good morning, good afternoon, and a very happy Friday, guys. Hope you are having a fantastic day so far. Hope the week has been kind to you, and I hope you're going to have a brilliant upcoming weekend. No Star Wars talk for me today. I considered it, but I thought I will leave that to better qualified people than me. So, what I'm going to talk about is a subject that I love. As you guys know, we're going to talk horror and we're going to talk um, actors, some of my favorite actors. Two of my favorite actors actually share a birthday today, so we're going to go into that as well. But before we do and get chatting, let me say hi to everybody. So we have got D-Bud Martin, good morning, great to see you. We've got Manowar 665, neighbor of the beast, hello love. We've got Leaky, good afternoon, great to see you. Our favorite polar bear is in the house, it's Snorter Poopers, hello, good to see you. I love saying that. We've got Ren Zero. Great to see you. Hello. We've got the lovely Leah Rose. Good morning, honey. We've got Psychodorf 9. Hello, love. Pod Racing Palpatine. Good afternoon. Great to see you. Ronan Racketeur. Great to see you as well. Hope you're having a good Friday. Jim the Viking. Good afternoon and hail to you. Hello there. Let's see. I know we had a couple of other people in earlier. I saw Keely Chow was in, and I believe Archie Collin was actually first today. So great to see you guys. Hope you're having a good one. And good morning to Jedi Bill 797. Hello there. Hello, and Copper Malik. Hello, guys. Great to see you. Hope you're having a good one. And Al Necron, Andy Masterson, gentlemen, welcome. So, guys, what I wanted to talk about today is something that I saw kind of trending yesterday, which was great. You know, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of horror, both as films, books, TV, all of the above. It's one of my favorite genres, and I think one of the most important books to really kind of unite people's passions when it comes to horror is obviously Dracula by Bram Stoker. A fantastic book, one that I've read multiple times, but still love it. And yesterday happened to be the 125th anniversary of said book. So we're going to talk a little bit about the character, about the history behind him, and a few of the interesting celebrations that went on for it. But before I do, let me say hello to D Nice Gamer. It says, hi, Papa Valkyrie. Nice to meet you. I see what you did there. Nice to meet you too. Great to have you with us today. And guys, I see you talking about Obi-Wan as well in the chat. Commiserations to all the Star Wars fans who didn't enjoy it. I will briefly say that, yes, I did watch the 2 episodes, and honestly, didn't move me either way. I was just bored with it. So, but there will be a review coming. I promise. We'll be doing with the awesome Sil Abdul. So that'll be coming in the next day or two. Let's see what you guys have got to say. Art just says, perhaps oddly, never read Dracula or Frankenstein. I would recommend both of them. Both of them are pretty easy reads. Great books, both of them. But it really depends on whether you like the gothic horror, because obviously that's what they came from. Just quickly, let me say a huge thank you to Salty Texas and good morning. He sends us a super sticker. And it is, let me see, it is a little devil face. Thank you so much, Salty. Really appreciate that. And a big thank you to Ren Zero, who's been a berserker with us for over 3 months now. He says, Mr. Lee equals Dracula, fine actor, interesting human. Absolutely. Christopher Lee is one of my my acting heroes, I think it's fair to say. A fantastic guy. And it would have been his 100th birthday today. So very much missed, but what an incredible legacy he leaves behind. So yeah, we will be talking about his Dracula, obviously, his portrayal. But let me give a little bit of history about the book before we kind of really get into it. So it was written by Irish author Bram Stoker. It's as I say, a gothic horror novel, and it was written in 1887. So it tells the story of a vampire, Count Dracula, and his attempt to move from Transylvania, which is now modern day Romania, to England in order to find fresh blood and to spread his curse of the undead. It's a fantastic story, and it's been adapted and retold so many times. I've got a list, I think, ranking all of the actors who have played Dracula, but there's so many different iterations of him that there's the very serious horror, there's the more campy horror, there's the animated versions, and then it kind of branches out also to Twilight, Vampire Diaries, Interview with a Vampire. You get the idea. So this whole idea of the undead is something that I think really captured people's imaginations, and where Bram Stoker got his inspiration from is it's kind of contested. A lot of people say it was from Romanian stories, but also there is a lot of kind of Irish folklore that he kind of wove into his story as well, because that is what he would have known, obviously, since that was where he came from. But it is also believed that Vlad the Impaler, or Vlad Tepes, whichever you want to call him, was most commonly cited as inspiration for Stoker's Dracula. Anyone who is familiar with Vlad the Impaler knows how he got his name. Another person who is kind of revered but hated at the same time, depending on where you're from. He's a kind of a hero, obviously in Romania, because he defended the borders, but obviously he's hated by the people that he persecuted. I think is the easiest way to put it, and his cruelty was infamous. There was a couple of other characters from history who may or may not have done what they were accused of doing, who were said to have sort of an inspiration as well, woven into this tale. Elizabeth Bathory was, I think she was from the 1560s, if I remember correctly, and she is considered one of the most prolific female serial killers of all time. And she used to bathe in the blood of virgins because she believed it kept her young. But all of these folklore elements and historical figures were used and kind of woven together to create this idea of Dracula. Let's see what you guys are saying, because I know you guys are very, very knowledgeable, which is why I love you. Let's see. So Ronan Racateur, I think, talking about the poll that I put up, which incidentally was a lot closer than I thought. I won't end it just yet in case we have more people come in and they want to vote. But yeah, I thought that Bela Lugosi would have been way out in front. Ronan Racateur says, I picked the one that didn't feel so campy when it comes to a dangerous character, though classic, still campy. Good choice. A very good morning to Dovianti Tobias again. Great to see you. Hope you're doing well today. Let's see. Renzura says Leslie Nielsen, dead and loving it. We can skip that one, I think. I have a soft spot for Leslie Nielsen. I will fully admit that it's not a great film, and obviously it's not a great Dracula film, but I still think parts of it are very funny. Ronan Racateur correctly points out that Bram Stoker hadn't even been to Transylvania when he wrote it, but he's said to have captured it very well when writing. Absolutely, yes. I think he was one of those people that really had a deep interest in folklore, and especially kind of folklore from all around Europe, not just the Irish folklore that he would have known. But yeah, definitely, absolutely. Copper Malik, good to see you. It says Dracula, one of the cryptids I usually like involving more supernatural ones. Absolutely. I love stories of vampires, I've got to admit. Vampires, werewolves, all awesome to me. And I always find it fascinating that vampires are found throughout history and pretty much all across the globe. There are stories of creatures that drink blood. So it's definitely something that's kind of really embedded in our psyche, I think. Colin says, Papa Valkyrie, possibly. Interesting fact, Dracula arrives at Whitby, which is the same place it was decided that Britain would follow the Romans after, rather than Celtic Catholicism. I didn't know about the Celtic Catholicism, but I did know the connection with Whitby. And incidentally, that's one of the stories I'm about to pull up. But no, I did not know that. Thank you, Colin. Appreciate that. I love it when you guys come up with facts like that. So I'm not that smart, but I do love to learn. Snorterpoopus has another fact for us. He says that that's an interesting part of the world, a real ethnic mix, including some German speakers, Transylvanian Saxons, but they were largely removed after World War II. I can imagine, yes. Leah Rose says Edward Cullen could bite me anytime. I know how popular Twilight was. From what I've heard, the books were much better than the film. I've only ever watched the first film, and honestly, I think I was too old by that point for it to really, be something that would have interested me. But I remember how popular it was at the time. Absolutely. Davian Sedovius again says, have you seen Nosferatu the Vampire? I think it was 1979, maybe 80. I believe so. That was that the Max Schreck one, if I remember correctly? I would have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it. Absolutely. And hello to TZ Burton. Great to see you. So, one of the first things I wanted to pull up, I was talking about the connection that Bram Stoker and Dracula has to a certain town in UK. So it is Whitby. Let me pull this one up. So, Whitby, what they wanted to do to really kind of celebrate the anniversary was to see if they could get as many people gathered together to beat a world record for the most number of, in quotations, vampires gathered in one spot, and they actually managed to do it. So yesterday there was a mass gathering of people dressed as vampires in Whitby, which has broken a world record. The group of 1,369 was at the historic Whitby Abbey to attempt the Guinness World Record for the largest gathering of people dressed in vampire costumes. It's all to mark the 125th anniversary of the publication of Bram Stoker's classic novel Dracula, which was inspired by the Abbey. The record was previously held by Doswell in Virginia, USA, where 1,039 vampires gathered together in 2011. So this is the very famous what's left of the Abbey at Whitby. I've actually been there. It's a great little seaside town. I'm hoping to go back in the next couple of months. Very, very into, obviously, Dracula and Bram Stoker, and they really kind of make the most of it, especially around Halloween. So that, I think, would be a great time to go back. But it's a really beautiful little place to visit. So there we have it. We had some shots of the vampires, all in sunlight, I might add. Which just make me smile. But I think it was a really good idea. It's a great way to celebrate and to get people to come together. And there's some fantastic costumes that people were wearing. If I'd known about this sooner, I probably would have gone. Just to say that I was there. But I'm really glad that they did it. So it goes on to say the event was run by the English Heritage, who oversee the 13th century Abbey, as part of a year of special events in honour of the book. Vampire dress is defined as black trousers, skirt or dress, black shoes, waistcoat, shirt, black cape, or collared overcoat, and fangs on the top set of teeth. Pretty sure I've got all of those. Those taking part were treated to reenactments of Dracula by the Time Will Tell Theatre, music from a goth band, toasted marshmallows, and fish and chips. Very nice. And these are some of the outfits that they've captured, and actually really love the effort that a lot of people went to to dress up. Some of them look really cool. I really need some fangs. I like the ones that kind of clip on to your own teeth rather than ones that you just kind of put into your mouth. Those are pretty awesome. So they have also got other events planned for the rest of the year. So Dracula Story, which is between May 28th and 5th of June, which celebrate all things Bram Stoker with lots of activities, especially for half term when the kids are off. They've got things to do with the Abbey, talking about the history of the place. Then we've got between July and August, watch the story performed live in the 13th century ruins, which sounds really cool. And then something else that I might actually go see, learn about Vikings and explore what their encampments would have been like when they invaded the northeast coast. So that sounds pretty darn cool. And then the big one is obviously Halloween, which they always go all out for. And I'm really glad that people are starting to do these events again. And it's great to see people gathering once more and enjoying themselves. We've got a few people joined us. Great to see you. Sparky says, Babble, great to see you. Hello. Colin says, one might say fangs for the memory. That's, yes. Phone box chicken, great to see you. I hope you're having a good one today. Let's see who else we've got. Tuesday Burton says, typical goth teenager today. Renzira says, I don't see any of those vampire sparkling, calling shenanigans. Wow, yes. Either that or they've just got an incredibly strong sunblock on. I'm going to go with that one. Well, I thought it was a pretty cool thing to do, and I love that they got together and did that. But Whitby is not the only place that has special links to Dracula. A lot of places in Scotland as well have it, and Scotland also, obviously, because it was the 25th anniversary, we're also celebrating. So places in Edinburgh, Scottish border, Glasgow, all of these places have links to Bram Stoker because it was places that he visited. A lot of the inns that he stayed in, he signed the guest book, so we know that he was actually there a few of the times. But the place that has the strongest link is probably the Clifftop Castle in Aberdeenshire, which has the closest link to the story, which is Slains Castle. That is the castle which is said to have inspired Dracula's very own castle, because it has this unique octagon-shaped room, which is described in the book. So that's where we think that Bram got at least a part of the inspiration for Dracula's own castle. Let's see what else you guys have got to say. Great to see Moons of Madness. Good morning or good afternoon. Hello there. Let's see. What the other thing that I was going to bring up today, obviously, was to talk about the actors who have played Dracula and the films that they've been in. Now, you guys have been busy with the poll, as I can see. Let me pull up. So at the moment, it's closer than I thought. I thought Bela Lugosi would have been way out in front, but we currently have Christopher Lee in the lead. I've got to admit, between the two, it is very close. I think I would probably go for Bela Lugosi because he had that really creepy look about him, but I am a huge fan of Christopher Lee as well. So ask me on another day and my choice will probably change. But let me bring this up and we'll go through some of the actors that have played him. There we go. So let me share that one. And you guys will probably disagree with the list that they've come up with, or at least the ranking that they came up with, because I do too, to be honest. So Spanning 90 years. 90 years of cinema. Dracula is one of the most iconic characters in horror, as well as pop culture, absolutely. And over the years, we've seen a myriad of performances ranging from terrifying to sympathetic to hilarious to boring. It's amazing to think that a literary villain from over 125 years ago is still so recognizable today. But the reason is because so many actors take up the mantle and give us something new and unique with each iteration. So we thought it would be fun to rank almost every Dracula performance from the movies. So they say note only Dracula performances will be considered. So sadly, Max Schreck's chilling take on Count Orlok from Nosferatu will not be included. But I still urge you to check out Nosferatu because it's a great film. So coming in at 13, a good number, they've got Thomas Kretschmann from Dracula 3D. Now, this I do not remember at all, which is probably why it's so far down on the list. So I'm actually going to skip that one. But coming in at number 12 is one that I do actually remember. I love the Blade films. I think they were fantastic, and Dominic Purcell played Dracula in them. So it says, admittedly, it's difficult to be intimidating and scary whilst walking around in leather pants. Disagree. I think it depends on who's wearing them. And always speaking in an intense whisper, Jack Bauer style, which is why this performance fails miserably. Although we can't entirely blame it on Purcell, as the costume design wasn't his choice, and the constant digital alteration of his voice was to make him sound monstrous wasn't his decision either. In the end, he comes off more like a cartoon character and not in a fun, entertaining way. I didn't think he was that bad, to be honest. I actually kind of like the way he looks, but yeah, I can see what they're saying. It was an interesting choice that they went with, especially with the costume for him. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Cuppa Malik says, anyone remember the Nosferatu of Bloodstone from Full Moon Pictures? I don't actually. I've got to I've got to go back and check that. Psychodwarf says Blade series was good. It really was. I thought it was great. Moons of Madness says, I love Gary Oldman. I really enjoyed the Gary Oldman's performance. Absolutely. Mr. Lee also played a vampire hunter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he generally went up against Peter Cushing when Lee played Dracula. So to see these two horror icons playing off against each other was always fantastic. Absolutely loved getting to see those, and I'm a huge fan of the Hammer horror films anyway. Let's see what else they've got. So coming in at number 11, they've got Dracula 2000. For me, another forgettable film, but I do like Gerard Butler. I think he is a good actor. So it says, much like Purcell, Butler here specializes in the intense whisper that's digitally altered for creepiness, but comes off as cheesy. But the reason Butler gets a slight edge is simply because he has fewer lines, and he is much more creepy and intimidating. Yes, and very young looking in this film. Yeah, not sure he quite pulls off the long hair look, but I do like him as an actor. I think he's kind of cool. Coming in at number 10, they've got Adam Sandler from Hotel Transylvania. I gotta admit, I did like the first film. The subsequent films, I didn't think much of, so I would base this entirely on the performance of the first film. It's definitely a campy, kind of cheesy take on the Universal monsters and the horror icons in general. But I thought it was fun. I gotta admit. So it says, if you're able to listen to Sandler's voice and not immediately think of 8 Crazy Nights, I've actually blocked that film from my memory. Thank you for reminding me of that one. Or his other cringe-inducing performances, Hotel Transylvania, is very entertaining. Somebody who wrote this list is clearly not an Adam Sandler fan. To be fair, we do get decent range from Sandler over 3 movies, and he proves that he's more than just a funny voice. but too often the performance relies too much on that voice when it honestly doesn't need to. There's enough good material there to get by without it. Yeah, and especially the first film, it had a big cast. A lot of the people that Adam Sandler usually works with came and did voices for a lot of the characters, and I think that really helps, lend believability to it. You can see that there's chemistry there with them. But I don't know, I thought it was a fun film, at least the first one. Still can't believe they just brought up 8 Crazy Nights. Coming in at number 9, we've got Richard Roxburgh, who I could not remember the name of. Even though Van Helsing is one of my guilty pleasures, I really love Van Helsing. Embarrassingly so. I think it was a great film. So they say Roxburgh is the only Dracula on this list that's incredibly cheesy. Yeah, he was the weak point for me, but somehow makes it work. Van Helsing is admittedly a guilty pleasure, and that's very much true to Roxburgh's performance. He's corny, over the top, but he's committing 100%, and he seems like he's having a blast doing so. That I would agree, and to be honest, pretty much everybody in that film seems like they're having a great time. Everybody from Hugh Jackman down seems to be, they know that this is a very cheesy film. It's not something to be taken seriously, but it's still a very fun film. So I don't know. I just like it. I never claimed to have good taste. Psychodorf says, I enjoyed Van Helsing. Me too, Psychodorf. Van Helsing solidarity, definitely. Let's see. Andy Masterson says, Purple Valkyrie, Willem Dafoe in The Shadow of the Vampire, Nicolas Cage in Vampire's Kiss, and George Hamilton in Love at First Bite. Yes! I would also really like to add Nicolas Cage in the upcoming film that he's going to actually play Dracula. But obviously, since that film isn't out yet, I can't judge. But I'm all for it. Great choices. Thank you. Spock's Friday Night says, I forgot Adam Sandler voiced Dracula. Love the man. Cannot wait for his new movie, Hustler. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with him. Some of the films I've really enjoyed that he does, and some of them are just too similar to all of the other ones that he does. So, yeah, but I liked him as Dracula, I've got to admit. Peter Cushing, another legendary actor, absolutely. Could not believe that, yes. Phonebox Chicken says, I love that Luke Goss is the villain in Blade 2. Being in my 40s, I remember Bros. I remember Bros too. I was also really impressed with him in, Hellboy. He played the villain, I suppose, technically the villain in Hellboy 2 as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I was surprised how in shape he got for that role. Agreed, Valkyrie. It's definitely a love-hate relationship with Sandler. Leah Rose says, isn't The Lost Boys a series of vampires? Indeed. Lost Boys is a fantastic vampire movie. One of my favourites. Let me say hello and good morning to the lovely Trouble Green. She says, hey lady, can't stay, but popping in to say I hope you have a wonderful day, evening. Hope you have a wonderful day as well, honey. Hope you have a great Friday. Dovian says, oh, Van Helsing was not good. I don't know, I just have a soft spot for it. I can't help it. It's partly because of Hugh Jackman with long hair. That really did it for me. Let's go on with the list. So Leslie Nielsen comes in at number 8. Dracula Dead and Loving It. Now, I don't think anybody voted for. Well, I didn't even put Leslie Nielsen in the poll because I didn't think anyone would vote for him. But I don't know. I quite like this film. It's definitely, obviously, a send up of the Gary Oldman film. But I thought the parts of it were pretty funny, and I've always liked Leslie Nielsen as an actor. So says even cheesier than Roxburgh is Leslie Nielsen's comedic take on Count Dracula. I would say that yeah, as I say, it's intentionally supposed to be that way. But since the intention is to be funny rather than scary, he scores higher than some might expect. Nielsen brings his normal deadpan delivery while Peter McNichol's Renfield steals the movie. Nielsen's Dracula is a performance to remember, especially when he transforms into a bat and still has Nielsen's head. Uh, I think I need to rewatch that film because I really did enjoy it. Coming in higher than I thought would was actually Luke Evans in Dracula Untold. Now, this, if I remember correctly, was supposed to have been part of the big crossover dark universe that they wanted to bring. So what they wanted to do was kind of breathe life back into the Universal monsters. We had the Mummy with Tom Cruise, which really sank that completely. And we also had a couple of others that were sort of loosely tied in, but I think they really wanted this huge kind of overarching multi-universe thing, obviously in the style of what Marvel has done. But it never came about, and I don't think we're ever going to see the Dark Universe, at least not the way that they initially envisioned it. But I didn't actually hate Dracula Untold. I like Luke Evans. I think he's a great actor. I really liked him in The Hobbit. Yes, that is a hill I will die on. I really like the first Hobbit movie. But they say if we overlook the rest of the film, which focuses way too much on trying to be like 300, there's a decent performance by Luke Evans hiding in there. Agreed. We also have Charles Dance, who's also one of my favorite actors. He's one of the more sympathetic versions of the character, and we see him wrestle between the morality of wanting to be a loving husband and a good person, whilst also trying to protect his people from invaders. He is one of the few Draculas that we see truly breaks bad, so to speak, and is legitimately interesting to watch. I would agree with that. And this was one of those films that I kind of put off watching for a really long time because it didn't really appeal to me. I really didn't need, another retelling, and it just seemed too action based for me. But I was surprised. I thought it was actually a pretty decent film. Let me say a huge thank you and warm welcome to Spock's Friday Nights. Thank you for joining. Let's see. So he has joined. He is. Oops, it skipped on me. We have a new berserker in our ranks. So huge thank you and warm welcome. And let me say hello to that 70s rock fan. Great to see you as well. Good morning. So thank you. Thank you, Spock's Friday Nights. I really appreciate that. We're going to try and get a member stream going, but probably Tuesday of next week, guys. So we're really looking forward to hanging out with you and getting to chat once more because it's been too long. And let's see what else you guys have got to say. Renzira says the problem with the Dark Universe was having a Kurtzman run it. Yep, that is the easiest way to have something go up in flames. This is have Kurtzman attached to it. Larry, great to see you, says Kurtzman killed Dark Universe, among so many other things. Absolutely. I didn't actually hate the idea of these classic monsters being brought back and re-envisioned and bringing new life to them, but it's always hit and miss when you try and have this huge kind of connected universe. But in more capable hands than Kurtzman, I agree. I think it could have happened. No doubt we will see more of them, but I don't think we're going to have this huge thing that they planned. Big hello to Shieldwater Dragons. He says, what up, everyone? Got an appointment, so just here to leave a like. I hope it goes well, honey. Great to see you. Hope you're having a good day. The one I liked the most from Tom Cruise's Mummy was Russell Crowe's Dr. Jekyll portrayal. That was an interesting take, and I'm not generally a huge fan of Russell Crowe. And honestly, I didn't actually hate that we had a female mummy either. I thought it was an interesting concept, and I thought the actress was pretty good, but Tom Cruise just way overdid the role, and yes, as you guys correctly pointed out having Kurtzman at the helm is a surefire way to have things go up in flames. It was only after they discussed a dark universe for Universal that it was supposed to start. They said the Mummy was supposed to. They couldn't figure it out. Well, they had, if I remember correctly, and I had this recollection of seeing this kind of photo that they put together of all the actors that they wanted to play different roles. So obviously we had Tom Cruise, then we had Russell Crowe, who was going to be Dr. Jekyll. I'm pretty sure Johnny Depp was on board to play one of the roles. I think it was Invisible Man, if I remember correctly. And all of these, characters were going to be envisioned by a lot of very well-known actors and actresses, and it was supposed to just bring it back into the forefront. But yeah, it wasn't to be, unfortunately. But having said that, I am actually really looking forward to the new Universal in Florida, where there's going to be a section all about the Universal monsters. So there's going to be new rides, new attractions. I think that's going to be great, and I can't wait to go back to Florida when that's built so I can visit there. But yeah, they love the idea of having them, but they don't know what to do with them. Phonebox Chicken said, I quite like Dracula Untold. It's not amazing, but one you could watch on TV and enjoy. Agreed. I was surprised with it. And as I say, I thought Charles Dance was especially good in it, not just Luke Evans. Ronan Raconteur said, loved Sophia Boutella as the mummy. I was hoping she was going to be Mummy Fully. She was awesome. I really like the design of her, I've got to admit, and I'm not generally, a big fan of a kind of gender swap, but for some reason this just worked really well, and I would have liked to have seen more of her. Ren Zero agrees. Sophia Boutella is gorgeous. I didn't mind her in the movie. Agreed. Salty Texas says Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire was a pretty good book, but exceedingly poor movie and now woke AMC show. You know what? I completely forgot that there was a show coming. I do remember it being talked about. I think it was a couple of months ago when we were starting to get photos of the set and the cast. But yeah, I like Anne Rice as an author. Especially Interview with a Vampire, I thought it was great, but I could definitely do without the AMC show. And hello to the lovely Apollome's minion. Hello, sweetheart. Great to see you. Copper Malik points out that when Russell Crowe's Jekyll changes into Hyde, his fingerprints are also changed. That is a neat detail. That is a neat detail. That's really, really cool. And good morning to Zax. Hope you're having a great one today. Zax had a fantastic live stream the other night, guys. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Had a wonderful panel talking about probably things that they're passionate about and things that maybe have kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of people. Great talk on anime, on books, on TV. So really enjoyed the show. So thank you for that. Let's see what else we've got to say. Now, this one, I love the actor because he was in The Northman. He played Fjolnir, but I did not see the BBC's version of Dracula. I heard really bad things about it. I heard that the production value was terrible, but I might give it a go because I was so impressed with Carl Bang as an actor. And he's someone who is, he's I think he's 6'5" if I remember correctly. So he's really got the height and the intimidation factor to play Dracula. Let's see what they've got to say. This is the most recent version from the writers of Doctor Who and Sherlock. It's a more methodical, charming Dracula than most. He's witty, determined, and always feels like he's in a chess game with everyone else. That, and he also taps into the monster side by turning into a wolf and wearing somebody else's skin. Interesting. The third episode may have been something of a failure, but it changed that the fact that the first two were a great portrayal of a cold and calculating Dracula that we don't see much of. That's interesting because a lot of people who did see it gave it really bad reviews. I do remember it coming out, and I just kind of skipped it. But I might actually go back and watch it, as I say, because one, the actor, and two, it does seem interesting. I like the idea of a more kind of calculating, methodical Dracula rather than a campy or rampaging Dracula. So might give that one a go. Let's see. Manowar 665 said did not care for the BBC Dracula as a whole. Ronan Raconteur said, from what I saw, he was pretty good. I might give it a go. Absolutely. Copper Malik asks, have you watched Vampire Hunter D anime movies, Valkyrie? Yes, I have. I've seen both of them. I own both as well. I loved the first one the most. Second one was okay, but I love the art style in the first one. Let's see what else we've got. Let me scroll down so I'm not missing anybody. Renzira said, I actually like Moffat's and Gattis's style of writing, Sherlock, and even Moffat's Doctor Who run, but I avoided Dracula, to be honest. I did as well. I think it was at the time when I was kind of burned out with a lot of BBC. I didn't have a lot of goodwill towards them, and to be fair, I still don't. But I might go back and revisit it just to give it a go. I think it's only 3 episodes, if I remember correctly. It was only a mini-series. Deepak Martin still haven't seen the Langella Dracula. Do you mean as in watched it on the film or seen it on the list? Because he's coming up next, I promise. So, as I say, coming in at number 5, they have got Frank Langella's Dracula from 1979. So this British production is sadly overlooked and forgotten by many, but it boasts one of the most subtle Dracula portrayals ever put to film. Langella is elegant and charming, always feeling like he's hiding something beneath the surface. It's a bit more theatrical oriented and perhaps a bit slow paced by today's standards, but it's a great performance worth checking out. Plus, he co stars with Laurence Olivier as Van Helsing and Dr. Loomis himself, Donna Pleasance as Dr. Seward. Yes, I actually really like this version. Frank Langella is another great actor, somebody who they tried to cancel, not recently, but thankfully, he was having none of it and stood up for himself. But this is a great portrayal. I would put this more akin to, I guess, Christopher Lee's kind of take. That would be the closest, but definitely a more subdued version of Dracula. But one that I would highly recommend. Coming in at number 4, we've got Duncan Regehr, I believe that's pronounced, in Monster Squad. I like Monster Squad. Again, a kind of campy movie, but it's still fun. So it says, despite the overall campy nature of this movie, Regehr's Dracula is actually one of the best and creepiest portrayals of Dracula we've seen. He's not sympathetic, nor is he a well-developed character, but he embodies the wickedness and inherent evil. Regehr gives the strong impression that his Dracula is a sinister one who is not to be trifled with. Plus, he yells a little girl and calls her a bitch. Top that. Not sure if that's something to boast about, but yes, he does. And guys, if you haven't seen Monster Squad, it is actually a great film. I would highly recommend it, especially the portrayals of the different characters. Frankenstein looks great, but actually my favorite is the creature from the Black Lagoon type creature that they had, the Gill Man. He looks really good. Archer says Christopher Lee at number 3. I call shenanigans. Absolutely, I wouldn't have put Christopher Lee at number 3. I would put him. For me, it's like a top between him and Lugosi. They vie for the top spot. Andy Matheson says, "Oops, it skipped. I liked the guy in Monster Squad. I did too." And now Necron says, "Monster Squad is a fun movie. It really is." So let's see. Yes, we have number 3. And like I said, guys, don't take this list too seriously because I think everybody will kind of rank these actors a little bit differently. But we have Christopher Lee, the man himself, the birthday boy. It's his 100th, or would have been 100th birthday today, as Hammer's Dracula in their franchise. So it ran from 1958 to 1973. So, shifting directions from the already iconic Lugosi performance, Christopher Lee gave us a vampire lord that feels more feral, visceral, and monstrous than we'd ever seen before. His Dracula is in tune with his more animalistic nature. He lives up to the word monster in every way, and is a much less and for a much less desensitized audience back then, he was terrifying. Absolutely. It didn't hurt also that Hammer weren't afraid to kind of push the boundaries a little bit. So Hammer Horror had a lot of blood in their films. There was also a lot of very beautiful leading ladies wearing not a lot, but usually nothing but a underwired night dress. And more often than not, you could also see boobs. Which was a big win for the Hammer horror films, which I'm a huge fan of. But yeah, Christopher Lee, what can you say? He is an absolute icon. One of my favorite actors, and the way that he portrayed Dracula, I think, was brilliant. Again, one of those actors, very, very physical, very tall, very slender, and he just loomed over a lot of his cast, and he just brought the visceral nature of Dracula out. I love that picture. Let me jump back, see what you guys are saying. Larry says vampire women too. Absolutely. Zach says, hail boobs, indeed. Could not have said it better. Our Necron Christopher Lee went from Victorian times to shagging hippies in the 70s. That's a party animal. Absolutely. And guys, if you aren't kind of familiar with the incredible life that Christopher Lee had, he was not just an actor, but he hunted Yahtzees. He was a heavy metal musician. He was an author. He was an icon in every sense of the word. And he also told, I believe, on the set of Lord of the Rings, his character obviously gets stabbed, and he told Jackson, when somebody gets stabbed in the back, they don't scream, they can't, because the air gets knocked out of them. What they actually do is just kind of make this wheezing sound, and apparently Peter Jackson just kind of stared at him open-mouthed. Probably best not to ask how Christopher Lee knew that. Archer Collins says boobs. Indeed. Yep, he was a huge Tolkien scholar as well. He was somebody who had great respect for Tolkien. Imagine that. Moons of Madness says Lee should be tied for first place with Lugosi. I would agree. Between the two, for me, it's almost impossible to differentiate. So I would put them at the top spot each. So obviously, you guys have figured out the ranking that this particular list has given. At number 2, I would argue, but we have got Bela Lugosi from 1931. So it says, by the time this film was made, Lugosi had already been playing the titular vampire on stage for some time, and it really shows. In addition to being the first cinematic Dracula, Lugosi brought a hypnotic quality, as if he's always holding back just how powerful he is. Others have done more with the character and taking him in different directions in the decades, but none are as iconic as this. There's a reason that all these years later, when people spoof or do an impression of Dracula, it's Lugosi's version that they reference. Absolutely. And Lugosi actually had a very sad ending to his life. He was very unhappy that he got typecast as this character. He was very insecure about his accent. He had a very, very strong accent, which you can hear in most of his films, and he found that held him back from getting more leading roles in cinema, as well as being, just seen as a horror actor. But from what I've heard, he was a true gentleman, and I love his portrayal. for me, he is definitely iconic, and it's all the way that he not just plays the character, but his physicality and his eyes. His eyes, if you watch the film, are hypnotic. So one that I always recommend, as I would with pretty much all of the Universal horror movies. But this just leaves the Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Not one that I would have put at number one. He would probably have been number three for me. But I cannot deny that this is a really good film. I love Gary Oldman as an actor. I think he's incredibly talented. I will even, willing to forgive the fact that we had Keanu Reeves in this film. He was doing his best, bless him. Let's see. Larry says Lugosi did Dracula on stage first, as did Frank Langella. Absolutely. Deepak Martin, Mr. Burns was a better Dracula than Gary Oldman. That wig Gary is wearing puts me off. Yeah, I much prefer him when he rejuvenates and he's wearing that grey suit with the little sunglasses. He looks so much better rather than the creepy, crepey looking version that they've got as the picture. But it's a bizarre look. Man of War says good, but no way in hell. Number one, agreed. Yeah, I would put him number three, maybe even number four, because I really did like Frank Langella's version. But let's see what else they've got to say. So, as always, Gary Oldman proves why he is one of the best actors working today. He's known for his complete immersion into his roles to the point that he's unrecognizable as himself. Bram Stoker's Dracula is no different. Oldman portrays a Dracula that is terrifying, ruthless, and sadistic, but also sympathetic and even tragic. He lusts for power, but yearns for the reincarnation of his deceased wife, Elizabeth. I think he means Elizabeth. Audiences are disgusted by him, but simultaneously sorrowful for him as well. The film itself is brilliant in its unique art house style, its compelling musical score, and its faithfulness to the source novel of Bram Stoker. So they say, which Dracula is your favourite? For me, it's still a toss-up between Lugosi and Christopher Lee. I don't think either of them can be tops. They each brought something new to the character and really defined him. But I have nothing against Gary Oldman as an actor. Man of War said, where did this originate? High Times magazine. It's just one that I found. I thought it was a fun ranking, and I thought you guys would definitely disagree with their ranking. Let me just jump back and end this poll and see what you guys decided. So it looks like Christopher Lee is our winner for the poll. So that is pretty cool. So big thank you to everybody who who voted today. So we had Christopher Lee comes in at the top with 40%. Bela Lugosi comes in at a respectable second with 30%. Gary Oldman is a third, and Luke Evans brings in 5% of the votes. So I would absolutely agree with that. So thank you, guys. And hello to Awesome One. It says, good afternoon, Purple. Hello to you. Great to see you. So, guys, that is gonna do us for today. Like I said, I just wanted to talk about something a little bit different, I think, and hopefully you guys had as much fun talking Dracula and vampires as I did. As I say, it is the birthdays of both the iconic Christopher Lee and Vincent Price. Lee would have been 100 today. Price would have been 111. Two guys, gentlemen, actors, brilliant films that they've been in. I think I'm going to watch The Wicker Man this evening to celebrate, but absolutely their legacy cannot be diminished. So let me say a massive thank you to everybody who joined today. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything because we do occasionally miss messages, but I think I got everybody today. So a huge thank you to everybody who joined today. Thank you to everybody who sent super chats, who sent super stickers, and to our newest member, Spock's Friday Night. So good to see you. We've got a lot coming up, guys. So we've got a new episode of Supernatural Showdown coming. We've got a review of Kenobi. That's not going to be on this channel, but I believe it's going to be on Syl's channel. I know there's a lot of streams coming up over the weekend as well. Lots of people are working incredibly hard on their channels, so no doubt we will see each other around. But guys, if you can do one thing for me today, one, have a fantastic Friday, but two, reach out to people, make sure that everybody's okay, because I think a lot of people are very stressed at the moment. So if you can reach out and say hi to a friend, I would be very grateful. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Have a fantastic weekend. We will be back as you always on Monday, and we've got a big announcement coming up as well. So it's a case of watch this space, guys. But until I see you again, have a wonderful day and a huge thank you. Mwah. Take care, everyone.